सभी को नमस्ते और पॉलिटिकली इनकरेक्ट की आज की इस चर्चा में आपका स्वागत है। मेरा नाम है नीरज अत्री और आज हम बात करने वाले हैं कि किस तरह से हमारे देश में, जिसमें हम कहते हैं कि हिंदू बहुल देश है, मेजॉरिटी हिंदूज हैं, और उन्हीं हिंदुओं के मंदिरों को पिछले 75 सालों से लूटा जा रहा है। आपने हेडिंग देखा होगा, जो टाइटल देखा उसमें हमने तमिलनाडु की बात की, क्योंकि आज के हमारे जो वक्ता हमारे साथ जुड़ने वाले हैं वो तमिलनाडु से आते हैं और रिसेंटली उन्होंने तमिलनाडु की सरकार पे केस किया है, जिसकी आज वो हमें बताने भी वाले हैं। अभी कहीं ट्रैफिक में फंसे हैं तो उन्हें 2-4 मिनट लगेंगे जुड़ने के लिए। तो लेकिन तब तक हम अपनी वार्ता को आरंभ कर सकते हैं। मुझे याद है जब हम स्कूल में पढ़ते थे, सिविक्स की क्लास होती थी, बड़ी बोरिंग क्लास होती थी वैसे तो उसमें बताया जाता था कि हमारा संविधान जो है, जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है, वो कितना महान है। इसे बनाने के लिए एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट असेंबली बैठी थी, जिसकी इतनी सारी बैठकें होती थी और उन मीटिंग्स में ये चर्चा की जाती थी कि देश का संविधान कैसा हो, और फिर उसका परिणाम हुआ कि हमें एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन मिला है। तो अच्छा, टी.आर. रमेश जी जुड़ रहे हैं हमारे साथ। नमस्ते जी, वेलकम।
नमस्ते, नमस्ते, जय श्री राम।
जय श्री राम। I was discussing with the audience के when we used to be in our school। अच्छा, मैं हिंदी में बोलता हूँ, दर्शकों को बता दूं, टी.आर. रमेश जी हिंदी समझते हैं लेकिन बोल नहीं पाते हैं, उसमें सहज नहीं है। तो हमें बताया जाता था that we have a wonderful constitution, जिसमें बहुत सारे ब्रिलियंट माइंड्स ऑफ आवर नेशन इकट्ठे हुए और उन्होंने हमें ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन दिया है, संविधान बना के दिया। इसमें यूरोप के इस देश से ये चीजें कॉपी की, अमेरिका के कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन से ये चीजें कॉपी की, और एज अ रिजल्ट वी हैव दिस ब्यूटीफुल होली डॉक्यूमेंट। और आजकल तो पॉलिटिशियंस ये बोलने लगे हैं कि एक धर्म ग्रंथ की तरह होना चाहिए। ऑल्दो उसी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में हम देखते हैं कि हिंदू रिलीजियस एंड चैरिटेबल एंडाउमेंट्स एक्ट जैसे घिनौने, ड्रैकोनियन और क्या बोले, यानी अनजस्ट कानून बने हुए। केवल एक हिंदू रिलीज HR एंड CE एक्ट नहीं है, बहुत सारे हैं। तो टी.आर. रमेश जी पिछले कई वर्षों से जो भारत में, स्पेशली जो दक्षिण भारत में, जो मंदिरों का सत्यानाश किया जा रहा है, उनका सरकारीकरण किया जाता है, सरकारीकरण के बहाने उसमें करप्शन की जाती है, उनका पैसा लूटा जाता है। तो टी.आर. रमेश जी उन विरले व्यक्तियों में से एक हैं जो ग्राउंड पे काम कर रहे हैं और बहुत सारे मंदिरों का पुनरुद्धार करने का प्रयास किया है। इंडिक कलेक्टिव नाम की एक संस्था भी चलाते हैं ये, और अथक प्रयास है और एक थैंकलेस जॉब है जिसे पिछले कई वर्षों से करते आ रहे हैं। आज हम इनसे समझने का प्रयास ये करेंगे कि जो हिंदू रिलीजियस एंड चैरिटेबल एंडाउमेंट्स एक्ट है, इसके चलते हुए या इसकी एब्सेंस में भी किस तरह से मंदिरों को लूटा जा रहा है, और विशेष रूप से जो इन्होंने अभी रिसेंटली केस किया है जिसमें तमिलनाडु के 2 बहुत प्राचीन, बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण मंदिर हैं, जिनमें बहुत सारी इरेगुलरिटीज टी.आर. रमेश जी ने डिटेक्ट की हैं और उसके लिए काम कर रहे हैं। वो आपको स्वयं बताएंगे कि वो क्या काम कर रहे हैं। ओवर टू टी.आर. रमेश।
नमस्ते, जय श्री राम।
जय श्री राम।
बेसिकली धर्म का काम एक थैंकलेस जॉब नहीं है। धर्म का काम धर्म के लिए, थैंक्स के लिए नहीं है। So whatever anyone like me doing, there is Sai Deepak, there is Anand Ranganath ji, there is Rangarajan Narsimhan ji. Whatever we are trying to do for the sake of dharma and for the sake of dharmic sampradayas of Bharat, we are doing because a sub rishi rinam hai, what we owe to the rishis. बहुत सारे महान महंत, they have saved our dharma, they have saved our nation. So we have Mahants like Samarth Ramdas ji, who inspired Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. And Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj came up to my hometown, which is Tanjavur, in the middle of Tamil Nadu. Why should a Maratha king come there? Because he wanted to save Rameshwaram. And Marathas have gone to Orissa to save Puri Jagannath Mandir. And they were all inspired by Maharishis. At some stage, we have forgotten our holy history. We have forgotten to respect our Gurujis, Mahants, the way we were doing it, the way our forefathers were doing it. And after the British came, and there was a conglomeration of nations, today the current Bharat, without the place called Pakistan and without the place called Bangladesh, is still a big amalgamation of nations. Kalinga, Maratha, Madhya Pradesh, or the Chola, Pandya, Travancore kingdoms, they were all Dharm Bhumis. And what connects all these places are temples. Mandir is the central focal point of our Sanatan Dharma. There's no denying it. Mandir is also a community center. Mandir is where people of various sampradayas, various jatis of Hindus come together, meet together, interact, and continue their religious duties and rights. The British did not take over the temples. We must remember that. There is a ek prachar chal raha hai that the British introduced this various acts by which the temples were taken over, and because they wanted to control the temples. That is not true at all. The 1863 Act, Religious Endowments Act, actually gave freedom to temples. The 1863 Act said the trustees will not be appointed by the government or any official of the government. Today, there are various HRNC, Hindu Religious and Charitable Endowments Acts in many states. Each state has its own act. The Karnataka has one act. Andhra and Telangana has got one act. Orissa has got one act. Bihar has got an act. Tamil Nadu has got an act. Kerala has got 4 acts. All of them control temple by controlling the appointment of trustees. Matlab, a ruling party hai, the ruling party, that chelas, the sevaks, the members, all these people will become trustees of temples. And what happens? Already there are officials of the government illegally controlling the temples. Then the trustees are also the ruling party members. It means the temples are fully controlled by the state governments. Now, Atriji was talking about the Constitution. Actually, the Constitution has given fundamental religious rights to all citizens, whether they are Christians, whether they are Muslims, whether they are Sikhs, or whether they are Hindus. The fundamental religious rights and the fundamental denominational rights have been given equally. There is nothing called minority rights when it comes to places of worship. A lot of people think that because minorities have special rights, their temples, that is, their churches, their mosques, are exempted from government control. It is not so. The fundamental religious rights to profess, practice, and propagate religion is given to individual citizen under Article 25. Then Sampradaya rights, the denominational rights have been given under Article 26, by which each sampradaya can take care of their own institutions. They can administer them. They can decide the religious matters without any interference. These two valuable rights have been given to the Hindus also. But what happened is, in 1954, when the Shirur Mutt judgment, when the Supreme Court's 7-judge benches decided what is a denomination, because at that time the word sampradaya was not used. The constitution was only in English. Even though in 1949 the Hindi constitution was ready, translated and kept ready. It was translated by a committee in which Babu Rajendra Prasad, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was the president. The Hindi version of the Indian constitution, which should be the real constitution, and the English should be the translation, became a subservient to the English constitution. And only in 1987, Parliament adopted the Hindi constitution. Now, in the English constitution, the word religious denomination is there. In 1954, the Supreme Court, 7 judges, deciding unanimously, wanted to define what is a denomination. So they took the help of an English dictionary, which is the Oxford Dictionary, and the year in which the dictionary was published was 1897. The case is being decided in 1954. They did not seek a dictionary of 1940 or 1950. They took a dictionary of 1897, in which there were 5 meanings given. And one of the meanings is collection of individuals under the same name. That definition they did not take. They took a complex definition by which you have to have a common name, common organization, common belief. Today, you have heard of the Sabarimala Mandir in Kerala, where lakhs of people come every year. Now, people from Andhra come, people from other parts of India come, people from Karnataka come, people come in large numbers from Tamil Nadu, and of course, Kerala people come. And they belong to different sampradayas. One might be a Vaishnavite, one might be a Saivite, one might be a Shakta believer. But they all come to worship Lord Ayyappa. And they all observe that Vrat, 40-day Vrat, whereby they discard their white clothes, they wear colored dresses, they wear a mala, they have a special diet, they avoid onion and garlic, they bathe twice a day, they do pujas twice a day. Then, when they start for Sabarimala, they take 2 coconuts, fill it with ghee. Gai ka ghee, they put in the coconuts, seal it, and carry it on their head and go to the temple. Now, this is a very unique practice, found nowhere else in India, in no other temple. Even in other Ayyappa temples, this practice is not there. Now, Supreme Court in 2018 says the people who worship in Sabarimala are no different from other Hindus, because they went by the 1897 definition, which Supreme Court took in 1954, saying you have to have an organization. How will 50 lakh Ayyappa devotees have an organization? Are they a Pentecostal church? Are they a Protestant church? Or they belong to any diocese of the Catholic Church? No. They are Sanatan Dharma people who want to observe Vrat and worship Lord Ayyappa in a given month. That's it. So, similarly, applying the definition of denomination, crores and crores of Hindus are denied the fundamental religious and, more importantly, the administrative rights of temples. Now, in 1954, the Supreme Court said, you cannot vest the administration of a denominational institution in the hands of a secular authority. The simple meaning is, a denominational institution cannot be administered by government. That means the government cannot administer a Shia mosque. The government cannot administer a Sunni mosque. The government cannot administer a Ahmadiyya mosque. The government cannot administer a Bora Muslim mosque. The government cannot administer a Protestant church. The government cannot administer a Catholic church. The government cannot administer a Seventh-day Adventist church. The government cannot administer a Syrian Christian church. But it can administer a Vaishnavite temple, it can administer a Saivite temple, and it can administer any number of temples, calling it a non-denomination. Fine. In 1897, the Hindi constitution came into force. And while adopting the Hindi constitution, the parliament introduced...
1987.
1987. My apologies. 1987, the parliament adopted the Hindi constitution. So in Article 26 of the English constitution, it says every religious denomination. In the Hindi constitution, it says Pratyek Dharmik Sampradaya. Every religious denomination and section thereof. In the Hindi version, it is Pratyek Dharmik Sampradaya ya kisi anubad. Now, today, let's say I go to the Supreme Court or to the High Court and say I belong to Vallabh Sampradaya. The government wants to take over my temple. Kindly extend the protection Article 26 gives to Sampradaya and tell the government that a religious denominational institution, that is a Dharmik Sampradaya institution, cannot be administered by a secular authority, that is by a government official. If I go to the court and say this, can the court say no? Can the court say, no, we defined denomination in 1954 and that definition stands? There are so many amendments to the Constitution. There are so many amendments in various laws. And when the law is amended, the courts accordingly change their judgments or their outlook. But if the parliament adopts the Hindi constitution and nobody is bothered, the court continues to reject the denominational claims of Hindus. This is a very pathetic situation. Number one.
But
Number two.
On what ground do they keep on rejecting?
Well, I'll tell you. This Sampradaya thing first came, it's a well-kept secret. In 2018, when the Sabarimala judgment was issued by the Constitution Bench of the Supreme Court, 4 judges of the Supreme Court said Sabarimala temple is not a denominational temple. Only one Honorable Justice Indu Malhotra, said it is a denominational institution. Now the High Court in 1991 has proceeded on the basis that the Sabarimala temple is a denominational institution. The one mistake or the one deficiency in the judgment was the court did not openly declare it so, but it went on the premise. And it became convenient for the Supreme Court to say it is not a denominational institution. Now, in the review petition, some of us raised the point when the 1987 adoption of the Constitution has come to place, and Article 394A says whatever is there in the English Constitution is there in the Hindi Constitution, and whatever is there in the Hindi Constitution is there in the English Constitution. The court cannot ignore the terms Dharmik Sampradaya ya kisi anubag. The court cannot. And that's one of the grounds by which the review petition is now taken up. So for the first times, because they received such a slap on their face, Hindus felt the need to do further research and they brought this point to the court. And now if we argue that, the court is yet to take up that Sampradaya thing. That is number one. Number two, I fight mainly in Tamil Nadu. Most of my cases are carried out in Tamil Nadu, that's where the Hindu Religious Act came up for the first time in 1927. It is continuing. Many of my cases are now dependent on the fact that the HRNC department, a limb of the state government, is controlling temples not by any authority of law, not by any power under the constitution, but simply by fraud. Most of the major temples where they are present, there is no trace of an order appointing a government official as the executive officer of the temple. There are 3 such cases of mine pending before Madras High Court.
Okay.
1 case pending before Honorable Supreme Court. The government is controlling temples by fraud. This is the same thing will go for Andhra government, which is controlling Tirumala, Tirupati, Devasthanam only by fraud. There is no order appointing executive officer to control the temple.
So all these years, they've been running just like that, without any orders?
They've been running just like that because nobody questioned them, and Hindus have been blissfully ignorant. Even today, when I make a speech somewhere in a public meeting or saying, or even in the court, they say, how can it be? How can government be there? That's how they are. Ask them to produce the records. They can't. Last month, court gave a final chance to the government to produce the records of executive officers of 47 temples in a case filed by me in 2022. And the government came with a reply saying that they have found 33 orders and they are searching a few more. But did they produce any of these 33 records? No, because they don't have it. They kept referring to some transaction somewhere, some record somewhere, some registers there the executive officer has signed, so there must be an order. These kind of arguments they have placed. Now this case will come for final argument, and we will demonstrate before the court that the government is there only by fraud. Now one such temple is the Tiruvannamalai Sri Arunachaleswara temple, invaded and partly destroyed by the Milechas, restored by Hoysala kings, restored by Maratha kings and Vijayanagara kings. This is a magnificent temple. It's got many properties. The whole Tiruvannamalai town is a temple town, with the Arunachaleswara temple being the main temple. And there are many, many other temples there. 2 of the temples in Sri Arunachaleswara, in Tiruvannamalai, have gone missing. 2, as per the records available to me, 2 have gone missing. There might be more.
What do you mean by missing? I mean, it's a structure.
It is not there on the face of the earth, but the survey number, the documents of that area shows so-and-so temple was there. One temple is called as Idumbanar temple, and the second temple is called as Eleyanar temple. These are 2 smaller deities who are the sevaks of Lord Kartikeya, known as Subramanya. Okay, Kartikeya is worshipped as a brahmachari god in north, and in south, he's got 2 Shaktis, Valli and Devana, 2 Shaktis, and he's worshipped as brahmachari also. He's called as Subramanya here, and the worship of Lord Kartik has the biggest followers in Tamil Nadu. So 2 of his warriors, the temple next to the Kartik temple, one in a, I would say, in a 180-degree angle, and another in a 90-degree angle. These 2 temples have gone missing, and in that place some shops have come, and some of the shops are run by the peacefuls, the Milechas.
एक मिनट रुकिए. आप ये कह रहे हैं कि यहाँ ये 2 मंदिर होते थे, और अब वो मंदिर नहीं है, मंदिर की जगह पे दुकानें हैं, और उन दुकानों में से कुछ दुकानें ऐसी हैं जो मलेच्छ चला रहे हैं. ये कह रहे हैं आप कि मंदिर फिजिकल एग्जिस्टेंस ही खत्म. इसे 2 ढंग से समझ सकते हैं. एक तो होता है कि मंदिर तो है अभी भी, पर उसके आसपास दुकानें आ गई तो मंदिर दिख नहीं रहा. दूसरा है मंदिर है ही नहीं.
The mandir, the 3,400 square feet in one place and some 4,800 square feet in one place, the temple complex have gone missing. And this has happened in the last 30 years.
Okay.
The temple which was under worship.
It sounds highly implausible, doesn't it?
That's because the Hindus are ignorant. The local Hindus, many of them, are also dishonest. Otherwise, there is no chance of a temple which
Yeah.
was in worship right
Yeah.
in middle of a large town going missing is the thing. Now, where did the statues go? Where did the pillars go? Where did the structures go? Now, there is also one temple which is about to disappear. I discovered that in Tiruvannamalai, and I have taken photographs and I put them in my tweet, where is a temple of Lord Shiva. He is known as Ekampareshwarar in that thing. And there, the Ekampareshwarar sanctum alone is left behind. What is missing is the goddess sanctum. The goddess Murti is missing. Devi Murti is missing. The Devi sanctum is missing. And 25,000 square feet of the temple complex is now fully encroached with houses, most of them, shameful to say, are Hindus.
Oh.
The tank next to it is intact, but the temple is about to disappear.
So the Hindus of the surrounding region have been gradually encroaching.
Encroaching,
And
they are building houses, they are living there, and slowly they have occupied the path leading to the temple. And one day the temple itself it's about to be dismantled. So some people, some good honest people, some devotees, some bhakts, they call me and said, this is the status in the town, you must come and look for yourself. The first time I went, it was 3 months ago. I went, I found it very, very shocking, because in one temple land there's a lodge that has come up, a hotel has come up. In one temple land, which is adjacent to the temple, a huge lodge has come. And the other thing I discovered is the holy mountain of Arunachala. The very mountain is adjacent to the temple, and the mountain is part of the temple property. There, people have started building houses. And there were about 40 ponds, holy tanks, in Tiruvannamalai town. Because why were there so many ponds? Because from the mountain Arunachala, during rains, rainwater will come from various directions. There was a need to save them and to ensure the town doesn't get flooded. So there were tanks purposeful for the community and also for the temples. Of these tanks, some 30 have been encroached. The channels bringing water to the ponds from the mountain, they have been encroached. So on one hand, temples have gone missing. On the other hand, ponds have gone missing. The water bodies, the channels leading, taking the water down to the town and safeguarding the water sources, they have gone missing. A huge encroachment, abetted by politicians, abetted by dishonest people. The temple town is going to drastically change. Not only this, in the town of Tiruvannamalai, no building can come up above 9 meters height. But very next to the temple itself, there are buildings that are coming up 15 meters high, 20 meters high, and all that. So there is total breakdown of law and order there.
So no one is taking cognizance of these crimes.
No one is taking cognizance. That's how corrupt Tamil Nadu has become. They are extremely corrupt when it comes to temple matters. Earlier, they used to be afraid of Bhagwan's property, Bhagwan's temple, etc., etc. Now, they have lost value so much because of the Dravidian rule. The fear of God has completely gone. In fact, God's properties are the primary targets. Public properties are primary targets. Properties like tanks, the protection of which is reiterated by Supreme Court again and again, they are primary targets.
Okay, that is astonishing. I'm trying to show those 4 pictures that you posted. Can you explain these to us?
Yes.
This is one.
Now, this is next to Ekampareshwar temple. You can see the Rishabh. People call it also Nandi. But Nandi is having an appearance of Lord Shiva. That we need not go into that. That for practical purposes, we'll say Nandi. The head is severed off, is cut off.
Oh.
So that means it has been uprooted, possibly from the goddess sanctum. and discarded here. And here you can see somebody has put some bucket tubes and all that. And there's a motorcycle or scooter in the background. So it is the wall of the yellow color of the red markings is the temple wall. So the encroachment is right at the temple. This is the first picture. This is the temple where you can see people are drying, mirchi and some pulses and all that. The temple, above the temple, some cement structures have come. The temple, at least 2 or 3 feet above it has come. So this is how a temple is slowly demolished.
Okay.
And you can see houses very, very close to the temple. And this is another, the next picture will show the same thing is shown from in a close-up. 4 feet away, another house is there. And all this area where the houses you can see are all this temple complex, 25,000 square feet. That means 10 grounds of land around the temple. And you can see the mandap taken from a distance. And the blue pillars, and above that blue pillar, the name of the temple is written, Sri Ekampareshwara Temple. And the mandap ends in a place where somebody's house is there. You can see the pillars jetting into somebody's house. This is for everybody to see, especially the Hindu religious and charitable endowment government officials to see. This is not something hidden in a forest or something. This is inside a town. The property details are there. The temple was in worship. Everybody can see how the encroachments don't come up in a day. There was open space one day, the next day there are houses. This is not like that. And these houses are given electricity connection, water connection, house tax is collected. So a complete collusion of officials of various departments.
And so that means what you're saying is that these are not Hindus, these are Dravidians who are...
No, they call themselves Hindu. They go to temples, they wear tilak and all that. But they have absolutely no qualms about stealing the Lord's property or stealing the temple property or encroaching them. That's the value system that has perished under the Dravidian rule.
That is a nationwide phenomenon. The value system is eroding all over the country,
but very especially so in Tamil Nadu, because the government is at it. The government wanted to destroy Sanatana Dharma, so they support the people who destroy like this. In other states, especially in the north, people don't say we want to destroy Sanatana.
Yeah, nobody says that.
Nobody will say that.
Well, how come they became so belligerent? So that means that they are very confident that they have such a critical mass who is going to still support them even if they are making such outrageous statements.
See, everybody has an agenda, everybody has a personal motive, and nobody wants government to take any action for violation of law, for violation of property rights, etc., etc. Now, under the Indian law and practice, the deity is treated like a minor child. He is under the care of the temple trustee, technically speaking. Now the temple trustees have been appointed by the Tamil Nadu government. For last 12 years, they did not appoint. That means the government itself was controlling the temples, was taking care of it. So they are in the position of a trustees. See, I've been in this field of fighting for temples from 2009, when the Chidambaram temple was taken over by government. I've been doing a lot of research, I've been filing a lot of cases, but even I did not know that things are so pathetic, incorrigible and unimaginable amount of levels of corruption and encroachment. Even I did not know. And nobody told me how things are in Tiruvannamala. A lot of people come to and tell me, sir, this is happening in the temple, why don't you look at it? This is happening in this town. And to the extent possible, because I'm an individual, even though I have an organization, we have limited resources. And my time is taken up by litigations and other things. So Tiruvannamala, when they said this, one individual called me and told me, I went there. My first visit was a shocking thing. Then I said, I can't go to courts without records. So I need some records. And after some time, we were able to produce the records. Then, with the records and with the photographs, I issued notice to Tamil Nadu government. I given them 2 weeks time. I will give them 1 more week. As usual, they won't even reply because they are all collusive here. Then I'll have to go to the court. Let's see what the court says.
Okay. So, since now TNS Tamil Nadu is going to polls, do you think there will be any change in the results this time around?
BJP and ADMK ought to have come together, in my opinion. I'm not into politics, but I can read a lot of things on the ground with my experience and me going around and all that. If BJP and ADMK had come together, they could have easily vanquished DMK, which is their primary duty. A party which is having anti-India people in its organization and in its alliance. That should have been completely vanquished first. But instead of that, for whatever reasons, they decided to go alone. So the anti-DMK votes.
They joined hands with one faction of AIADMK, I suppose.
No, that's a very small faction and a meaningless faction. The main party is, of course, BJP is going to gain a lot in this election than previous elections. But still, the anti-DMK votes are getting split. So I don't know if there will be any seats to be won. More votes will be won. But our Indian democratic system is so crazy. You can be an MP or an MLA with even 20-25% votes.
Yeah. So how is the way you are telling, the situation is really appalling. So what is the solution for this?
The solution is we need a proper result-oriented litigation. Now there should be a special bench in Madras High Court to take up temple cases. Now there is a special bench which is taking up a few cases, especially ordered cases, on once every week or sometimes at the best twice every week for half a day.
Okay.
This is not enough because there are 44,000 temples controlled by the government, and I would say 44,000 cases can be filed for their maladministration. So we need a fully fledged bench looking after temple cases and fixing time-bound litigation for them, number one. Number two, the most important thing, the subject of temple management or church management or the management of mosques and charities is a concurrent subject in the constitution. It is not a state subject. So central government has got, in light of all the atrocities happening recently, central government has got more power than the state governments in the matters of places of worship. They have to pass a central law by which proper management of temples is ensured, proper audit of temples is ensured, and the temple properties are not squandered or not encroached or not alienated easily. Strict punishment should be meted out. And because temple properties, even if somebody has taken over, it has no limitation, it can be taken back. Central government should appoint special committees to recover temple properties which have been taken over even 50 years ago or even 100 years ago. So a central law should come and BJP should ensure that.
Okay. Incidentally, that is a question which one of our viewers was asking, Ankit Kumar. Sir, will BJP do something after winning election to Hindu education and temples?
We can only hope, because the last 10 years they have not done anything. BJP has done nothing to free temples from government control in the states.
On
in fact,
the contrary,
they bought a very bad act in Uttarakhand. Luckily, they withdrew it.
Yeah.
So we hope BJP will do something this time.
But what makes you hope?
What makes me hope is, while BJP is focusing on the general welfare of the people, the advancement of technology, the advancement of the nation in various fields, including, defense, where things are made in India, some of the fantastic things they are doing. Good, all necessary, all required, and all that. They have also taken up in their second term things like 370, things like bringing peace, law and order in Kashmir, etc., etc. Similarly, temples could not have been in their primary list. This time, it might be in the list. I hope so.
Okay, there are a few questions. If you say, I'll just bring them.
I made a presentation before the Hindu Dharma Acharya Sabha in 2012, and this in Ahmedabad, and this presentation was made right in front of Narendra Modi ji, who was then the Gujarat Chief Minister. So, as soon as I finished my presentation, Modi ji stood up to speak. He spoke of three things. He spoke of cleaning the Ganga. And he compared how Gujarat government under him has cleansed the Sabarmati river and how good it has become. He invited all of us to come and see the river in Ahmedabad. Second, Go Samrakshan. Modi ji spoke about how the Congress government is encouraging beef export and why it should be stopped. Third, he talked about, of course, based on my presentation also, he congratulated me on the presentation. And he said, when Gujarat was formed, amalgamation of various principalities, it was following the law of the Bombay state.
Bombay Presidency.
So they had to change a lot of law for Gujarat. They removed the Bombay Public Trust Act, which allowed the government to take over religious institutions. Modi ji spoke about it. He said he removed it. I am very, very hopeful that Modi ji this term will do something positive for Hindu temples. He will ensure better management. At the same time, he will give the Hindus the fundamental right to administer their temples. I hope so. Sorry, I missed the second question.
Yeah, I'll just bring it up. Ratna Muralidharan, the Dravidian governments want to abuse Sanatan and destroy it, but grabbing money, gold, silver, land, and other wealth looting is okay.
Yeah, that's part of their destroying Sanatan Dharma. While destroying Sanatan Dharma, they want to get rich. They want to get rich at the cost of temples.
Yeah.
That was more of a comment.
Yeah.
Not a question.
People need to stand for their own, and this time will come to maybe soon. Again, a comment.
Social media has brought a lot of awareness, but the awareness should translate to clear action, clear demands.
Yeah, clear demands. That is more appropriate, because what happens is sometimes people create a lot of noise, but that is not coherent.
Just saying, just retweeting or just putting like or sharing the Facebook posting is not enough.
So what do you suggest?
You see, when people come to you asking for votes, you should ask, are you going to ensure that the Hindus have the rights to administer their charities and temples? How are you going to ensure government misuse of temples is taken away? People should ask. When 10 people ask, it won't make a difference. When 10,000 people ask, it will create a vibration. 100,000, then the politicians will start talking about it. Then they will include it in the manifesto. Today, the BJP manifesto does not have anything on temples. In fact, it doesn't even have the one single word Hindu. Search the manifesto. You will find it. The word Hindu is missing there.
Yeah. Okay.
Of course, it is focusing on development, which is fine. But fundamental rights are also important.
Yeah. And what good is any development if the Hindu civilization doesn't survive?
Yeah. Who are we developing this nation for?
Exactly.
For us, dharma is more important.
Yeah. Okay, now there is this question that people tweeting randomly or Hindus randomly asking their MP or MLA to do something, will that be sufficient, or does it require a concerted effort, a collective group effort, like you
There's
have
no doubt it requires a concerted effort. Group effort should start, and group effort should converge into a large group effort and specific demands. We should get people in the forefront to come and say what rights the Christians and Muslims have, minority rights. We don't want rights more than them, but we want equal rights. It's a shame that the majority is begging for equal rights of the minorities. It's not only shame, it is a bad example of governance by the government of India, whether it is
and
UPA or whether it is NDA.
yeah, that is what I was going to say, that every party has been complacent in this. Every party has been complacent.
Yes.
So how do we go about this? Because if we want a concerted effort, if we want a collective effort, how do we go about it?
See, if today, okay, this is election time, but even in other times, today I say BJP has not done enough for Hindus in matter of temples. If I ordinarily tweet something, some atrocity in about temples, I get 300, 400, even 1,000 tweets, retweets. But if I say that BJP has not done enough in temples, they should do, or I make a demand, a specific demand from BJP, the tweets won't even cross 100. Our own people are not for the truth. They are for a particular party. That should not be so. Hindus who are willing and eager to protect Dharma should also be, and they should also be very, very clear, vocal in saying when if somebody of their own party is doing wrong against them, they should voice it out.
Yeah. It should be a non-politically affiliated movement.
Yeah, at least when it comes to our temples, when it comes to our charities, when it comes to our basic Sanatan Dharma philosophy, no compromise.
Yeah.
Just because some party member is saying so, you are not going for it.
BBM, Namaskar. No hope from any parties. An ex-IS from Tamil Nadu recently joined Odisha politics, doing these things here, and no parties are listening. That is the problem, that no one is listening.
No one's listening, and BJP is not encouraging its party people, own party people, to say things for the cause of Dharma. Have you seen any? See, Chief Minister Bommai said he will release a temple from government control. He was there for 2 years in power after he made his announcement. Could he do that? His own bureaucracy, his own party members, and in addition to this, RSS people prevailed upon him and did not allow him to do that. And in Madhya Pradesh, Chauhanji said he will release temples from government control. And after the elections, Chauhanji was shown the door. BJP does not encourage people to speak about temples. This is the truth.
Yeah.
How many of us know it here?
So that means now all other parties, we already know they are anti-Hindu, they are anti-Sanatan.
No. Communists, they want temples to go away. They are eager to destroy temples. Congress couldn't care for temple interests.
Yeah.
Okay, same with TMC. Same with many local state parties. BJP is the only hope of Hindus. And why is BJP, who is getting votes only from Hindus, are not doing this favor for Hindus, ensuring their fundamental rights are not taken away?
Yeah.
That is the question. We have to keep asking.
It beats me. What scares them from doing it?
It's a mystery, complete mystery. But It could also be RSS ideology that temple should be under government control.
Okay, have you interacted with somebody from them?
Many, and I know it for a fact. In fact, the Shabarimala, that women can go and worship in Shabarimala is the RSS resolution, the Jaipur
Yeah.
resolution of the RSS. I say, who is RSS to decide our sampradayas? They could be patriots. They could have done something good for the country. They stand up in many issues for the safety of the country, but they are not religious leaders. They can't decide how Hindus should worship. They can't decide that sampradaya should merge and become one entity of Hindus. That's absolute nonsense. The individual RSS members are wonderful patriots. They sacrifice their lives during the times of cyclone, floods to save others. The RSS is full of wonderful field members. But I can't say the same thing about their leaders. They are agenda oriented. They want to control the Hindus.
Okay, so hopefully the society collectively wakes up, makes a lot of noise, and politicians find it impossible to ignore them. That is the only solution, I guess.
Hope so, and the sooner the better. Let's see, if the third term of Modi ji focus is laid on the restoration of fundamental religious rights to Hindus. Even RTE, the right to education, which is only against Hindus, it should be properly amended to safeguard Hindu schools are not done away with. And the schools of missionaries escape such responsibilities. That should not be allowed.
Okay, so that is the sorry state of our temples, especially in Tamil Nadu. On this rather grim note, T.R.Ramesh, thank you from on behalf
our Ram has come back in Ayodhya. Let's hope our Dharma flourishes throughout Bharat by His grace. Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram. Thanks for joining, and thanks on behalf of all the audience.
Thank you. Jai Shri Ram.
जय श्री राम। तो ये थे टी.आर. रमेश जी। आपने सुना उन्हें कि कितनी व्यथा है, क्योंकि पूरे का पूरा तमिलनाडु में जो मंदिर हैं, इतने सुंदर सुंदर सदियों पुराने मंदिर हैं जिन पर राक्षसों की दृष्टि जमी हुई है, और वो उन मंदिरों को धीरे धीरे निगल रहे हैं। वहां के करप्ट पॉलिटिशियन, करप्ट ब्यूरोक्रेट्स और उनके साथ मलेच्छ मिलके ये सब करते जा रहे हैं। और दुर्भाग्य से इसमें कोई सिल्वर लाइनिंग दिखाई नहीं दे रही। जैसे वो भी मोदी जी की बात कर रहे थे कि तीसरी टर्म में शायद कर दें, वो उनकी ऑप्टिमिज्म, जैसे आशावाद कहते हैं, वो है। नहीं तो शायद ये पिछली 2 टर्म्स जो निकले उनमें भी किया जा सकता था। क्यों नहीं किया समझ में नहीं आता, क्योंकि इसमें तो ऐसा भी नहीं था कि कहीं कोई मुसलमान नाराज हो जाएंगे या ईसाई नाराज हो जाएंगे। किया जा सकता था, नहीं किया। तो अभी तो इलेक्शन कल से शुरू हो जाएंगे, तो हम अभी शांत होके बैठ सकते हैं। रिजल्ट आने वाले हैं, और फिर जो काम नहीं किए गए उनके लिए हमें फिर से उठना होगा। याद रखिए कि ये अगले 5 साल बहुत 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 महत्वपूर्ण है हिंदू समाज के लिए। ये मेक और ब्रेक टाइम होने वाला है। तो देखते हैं क्या होता है। समापन की ओर बढ़ते हैं जी। उससे पहले वीडियो लाइक करें, शेयर करें, चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें, बेल आइकन को प्रेस करें और सपोर्ट करें। सामने QR कोड दिखाई दे रहा होगा आपको, या जो ID है वो आपको डिस्क्रिप्शन में मिल जाएगी। तो समापन की ओर बढ़ते हैं। जय श्री राम।